Hello, everybody. Welcome to another BTSE AMA. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Hai. I'm a senior marketing manager here at BTSE. For all those who haven't heard of BTSE, we're a leading global crypto exchange and B2B white label solution provider. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for joining in and taking part in today's AMA with Orderly Network and BTSE Dex. Today, I'm excited to welcome both our guests, Ryan Yi, co-founder and CEO of Orderly Network, and Blake Perez, head of DeFi Strategy for BTSE. Blake and Ryan are here today to talk about Orderly, the BTSE Dex, and their collaboration going forward. Before we get started, I'd like to announce that BTSE and Orderly Network have launched the BTSE Dex Mainnet giveaway just hours before this AMA. We strongly encourage you guys to head over to the official Gleam and Galaxy pages to get involved and win. You guys can find the links on both Orderly and BTSE Dex's Twitter pages. Okay, let's kick off this AMA by welcoming both Rand and Blake. Rand, Blake, it's a pleasure to meet both of you. Why don't we start off with introductions? Rand, why don't you go first? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Ran, co-founder of Orderly Network. Great to be here. A bit about me. Before Orderly, I was part of Woo Network, which incubated Orderly along with Near. We also have a sister company called Kronos Research, which is one of the larger high-frequency trading firms in the crypto space. I started off my career at a company called Freddie Mac in the US back in 2006. So I was there for 2006, 2008, which went through, if you guys know, the great financial crisis of that time. So I was a trader back then, and I can fully understand where Satoshi is coming from. And it's one of the core reasons I got into this space back in 2017. Through these few cycles, we've seen kind of the collapse of many TradFi firms back during the crisis, financial crisis. And through these crypto cycles, you kind of see what happened to many CeFi firms, including FTX and such. So I'm a strong believer in DeFi and how that's going to change the entire space in terms of trading, transparency, and even the TradFi world in the upcoming future. Thank you.
Thanks for that introduction. Blake, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Blake, head of DeFi Strategy at BTSE. Previously working in various startups both in New York City and Singapore, and have had the pleasure to start working with BTSE recently to help define what is our DeFi strategy as a company, as a product, and looking forward to explaining more about the DEX today.
All right, great. It's a pleasure to have both of you guys on participating in today's AMA. So let's get started. First question, what is Orderly Network and how does it work with BTSE Dex and with Near?
Yeah, I'll go first. So Orderly is an omni-chain central limit order book infrastructure that aims to unite liquidity across different blockchains. So what that means is, it's trying to solve the pain point of scattered liquidity in different blockchains. If you see DEXs today, there's separate instances of pools launched on different chains. They're not interconnected. They're perhaps using different assets, some of the same assets, but in wrapped form. I think that's very inefficient, and we aim to just solve all of that, right? In essence, users should be able to access unified liquidity no matter which chain they're accessing from. There's a term called chain abstraction where the user shouldn't have to deal with bridges and even the underlying chains, but they can just plug into the source of liquidity. So we want to build the ultimate trading Lego for any DApp to integrate with us on any blockchain. So we want, at the end of the day, to have a CeFi-like experience in terms of performance and speed, combined with transparency and composability of DeFi. And we're very happy to have BTSE Dex partnering with us on their DeFi product.
Thanks for that, Rand. How about you, Blake? Would you give us a little information on the BTSE Dex?
Yeah, for sure. So the BTSE DEX is a decentralized trading experience that's plugged into Orderly's network and the order book that it provides. So similar to the BTSE centralized exchange and our payments products, we basically want to enable sort of the most seamless and liquid trading experience, regardless of what pair you're trying to trade or the privacy experience that you require, right? So Orderly was initially built on Near as a springboard for getting this product up and running. The team has been really great to work with, and they've allowed us to build, with the velocity that we've had so far to deploy the DEX and yeah, provide a new trading experience for our users that are using the BTSE centralized exchange, as well as other users that might be new to BTSE coming from the DeFi space.
That's great. Thank you, Blake. Personally for me, it's been a pleasure to work closely with Rand and with Bitsy to build this team and what the Dex is today. And we'll continue having a great partnership going forward. And that which leads us to our next question. What does Bitsy Dex and Orderly bring to the table that others don't? Rand, how about you go first?
Yeah, I think it's a very unique combination. If you think about the DeFi world today, how many centralized exchanges have launched DEXs? It's tough to. I think it's tough to think of any. And so this is kind of a bet from both of us, right? To it's a belief that DeFi kind of is the future of trading with its transparency, composability, Web3 tokenomics, and it's a long-term vision that it will power a lot of crypto trading and even TradFi in the future. And we're working together on this partnership. For DeFi, it's great because BitSea is a large centralized exchange. It has many users from all over the world, API traders, professional traders, and such. And they're bringing this user base to the DeFi world, educating them about what DeFi is, near other blockchains, wallets, and such, and bring that user base, the centralized user base that typically probably has not experienced DeFi into the DeFi space. So it's a fantastic partnership. I think we're doing kind of a favor for DeFi. We're bringing a new set of users into this world. For us, on the Orderly side, what we want to provide in terms of infrastructure to this user base is great liquidity. We have a really big network of market makers, a lot of which invested in Orderly, that are providing liquidity on Orderly, currently on spot and perps on Near. And we've got the EVM testnet up on Arbitrum, and it will expand to many other EVM chains. So offering liquidity is kind of the foundation for Orderly, as eventually we want to be able to offer really a great liquidity source from professionals and retail, available to users from BitSea and other applications, and from any chain, right? And that's kind of where we're coming from.
Thanks for that, Rand. Blake, how about you?
Yeah, so I think centralized exchanges sort of venturing into the DeFi space with the DEX. It's not totally new. Rand mentioned there's not everyone's doing it, but we're not the first either. I think the way that we're doing it is quite unique and thoughtful, right? So rather than just kind of figure this out on our own, we're doing it with Orderly. We're also doing it with a familiar core technology that is the centralized order book. These two things combined together, it means that we can deploy really quickly with Orderly's help. They've been great in terms of pushing new functionality, pushing new features, and making that easy for us to follow along and do as well. But when we put these two things together, right, we can give traders a liquid trading experience that it's not just a nice to have feature anymore. It's certainly like an absolute must, right? And we've kind of come to know that from listening to our customers' feedback, our user feedback, right? So at BitSea, we have the centralized exchange with various on and off ramp solutions provided by our own payment products and systems, right? Our long-term vision is about providing a seamless way to manage your assets however you want to, including both, on and off chain usage. So moving into the DeFi space is another step in building out that product vision as a full system, right, to accommodate new users as well as existing users who prefer just like the advantages of DeFi. I think that's kind of how we're trying to put it all together.
Thanks, guys. It's great to know that both our teams are working towards something special. So moving forward, how has Near helped Orderly and Bitsy get to this point? And what are both Bitsy and Orderly's plan to expand to other ecosystems as well?
Yeah, so Orderly started off on Near. So there's Spot and Perps live on Near currently, and that's what BTSE has utilized that version to build. And Near has been great and very supportive with us. I mean, it's a very exceptional blockchain, very high performance, fast finality, and extremely cheap gas fees, which is very important for any sort of high throughput trading. So it's been great, and it's been a wonderful experience working with the Near team. And recently, Orderly has expanded to EVM via testnet launched on Arbitrum. And the new structure on EVM is such that there's custody vaults built on different EVM blockchains, starting off with Arbitrum and expanding to many of the EVM chains. Whereas there's a central settlement layer on top of a new blockchain that we're building with one of the layer twos, where everything gets settled on that chain. So then that enables a user to be able to deposit, let's say, via BTSE on Polygon and trade, and then be able to settle everything on chain, and then withdraw perhaps on Arbitrum. So to facilitate this omni-chain experience. So if you go to, so we're live on testnet now, and we're looking forward to BTSE expanding to the EVM as well, and it'll be making it truly omni-chain experience, where no matter which chain you're on, you're able to access, deposit, and withdraw to this to our liquidity.
That's great. Thank you, Blake.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, Near support is really what helped get this project up and running between BTSE, Orderly, Near. And I would expect, sort of the initial velocity and all of the work that's been done together. They're going to keep building alongside us, and it's going to be ever evolving and ever important part of the ecosystem as the BTSE DEX evolves, right? Also, as Rand mentioned, we're really looking forward to the omni-chain expansion, right? Because there's no real one size fits all solution, right? People have different preferences, people have different demands. And so we're here to kind of do the work to tie all of that together, for the DEX and for BTSE as a whole.
Okay, thank you guys. We'll move on. So what potential does the BTSE DEX and Orderly hold for Web3 users and builders?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that
Hey, Rand, sorry.
Yeah. So the ideal situation, I mean, I think in the future, we're going to have DEXs that look like centralized exchanges, if not better. The UI UX is going to be very similar. There's a lot of people trying to solve for the onboarding issues, like account abstraction, fiat on-ramps. Centralized exchanges are solving for that. There's payment providers, fintech firms, PayPal, and such. So the onboarding will be, we have faith in onboarding. And then after they onboard, they're going to the trading space, to a DEX, right? And then the DEX needs to feel a lot like a centralized exchange, and it needs to be better ultimately, because I think it can be better. With the composability it has, there's no reason the DEX does not have this better liquidity and better yields than centralized exchanges, which is kind of siloed, right? The exchanges don't really connect to each other like in the way that DeFi does. So I think this is a tremendous opportunity, right? So to make this work, we'll need adequate liquidity for many assets. Our goal is to have permissionless listing for Orderly or near permissionless. And we need someone who knows trading and front end and user experience to build out everything that the user touches, right? Which is someone like BTSE, who already has this big user base on their centralized exchange. So then that combination, I think, really can create this wonderful DeFi product, this DEX that feels exactly like a centralized exchange, right? Which is what we need. I mean, most of the DeFi builders these days are kind of DeFi native. They're building very innovative things like AMMs and such, but the UX is lacking, right? I think that's kind of the consensus on the DeFi side, and we really look forward to building this complete product with BTSE, or with a DEX that really resembles a centralized exchange, and where users can't feel the difference.
Here, Blake.
Yeah, I think so. So far, I'm really proud of the work that our product team, both the design and technical team, has done to provide an excellent user experience, right? So what we've done is we've taken a lot of our internal knowledge from building a full featured centralized exchange, and we've built the deck sort of as the next evolution of that, based on what we see our users wanting, what they expect from a responsive design, with easy as possible onboarding. As Rand mentioned, we're always working to make that easier, not just us, but other Web3 teams, as well as a user configurable layout, right? So you can kind of customize the decks to match the trading experience that you'd like. Again, this is sort of really all connected to that larger vision at BTSE, where we want to provide access to as many trading opportunities and channels, right? We have the centralized exchange with payments products that allows users to trade crypto denominated in whatever currency they want to use and sort of minimize hops and fees. So adding the DEX on top of all of that is a very important part of the overall product vision there. So really just to let people do what they want, like with their assets. And of course, in an easy to use and in very time efficient manner.
Good, thank you for that. What direction does BTSE and Orderly see the cryptocurrency and Web3 landscape developing in the future? How is the BTSE Dex and Orderly preparing for it?
Yeah, so we see a larger portion of users shifting to decentralized exchanges. Currently, we're witnessing kind of the rudimentary, like the first wave of DeFi products with Uniswap and DYDX, GMX, and such. And we think the next wave of products will be a lot better and a lot seamless, and again resemble more like CeFi with kind of the DeFi, sort of some of the unique features of DeFi, like composability and such. So as the UX gets a lot better and the onboarding gets a lot better, and there's currently this period where kind of the regulations are laxer are looser for DeFi. That's a period where DeFi can really grow, right? Versus their centralized counterparts, and I think we're going to see a lot more users going towards DeFi, and then the guys who can move fast, like BTSE, to launch their decentralized products can really capture that new user base and give an alternative to their existing user base to have higher retention rates. Give them a new and decentralized novel product for them to use. To prepare for kind of that shift. And the other thing I see are a lot more assets going on chain as well. We are seeing it with Treasury, T-bills now. And a lot of it is kind of just a cost issue, or future cost issue, right? The short-term costs, there might be like a short-term cost to doing this stuff and putting it on chain, but longer term, it's really, using the blockchain for what it's kind of meant to be, right? As ledgers and as something that, that everyone has consensus around it providing an accurate source of truth. So it makes a lot of sense to put real world assets on chain. I think that's only going to continue, right? With the most attractive things like the higher yielding TradFi products on chain, where there's a lot of demand. And I think later it's going to be many other types of assets, and all of those assets are going to want venues to trade on chain. So I see a future where there's going to be crypto and traditional, and some of that is already happening, right? Traditional assets trading on chain using the combined ledger that is the blockchain, sharing liquidity across different chains. I mean, there's going to be all types of regulations and KYC rules to access these assets. But I think this is all going to happen where users and assets are shifting more on chain.
Yeah. Blake, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely seeing lots of people shift from a centralized exchange to a DEX, and I think the fundamental explanation for that is centralized exchanges more or less came first, right? So in some other universe where it's the other way around and DEXs came first, we'd probably see a similar shift the other way. Maybe at not such a high rate, but But my point is that different traders, different investors and users, they all have different needs, right? Whether they want to trade in a DeFi space or a centralized space. And Bitsy's really working to understand like what those user needs are, and find ways to be the place where crypto assets can be traded easily, no matter what the user's criteria might be for how they want to trade. So I think at the end of the day, a lot of value is still yet to be generated in the Web3 landscape. You know, we can certainly see it coming down the pipeline. People are building every day. The DEX is here to support a lot of that, right? The centralized exchange as well is right there along with our payment rails to kind of facilitate this seamless movement of value around the ecosystem, including, you know, more traditional assets, whether it's fiat or you know, kind of whatever asset you have. So of course, people need a way in and out too. So putting these, like all of these products together that Bitsy has, bundles everything up nicely.
Yeah, puts a nice, puts everything in one place so people don't have to run around and find other places to go to. It's a great
Exactly.
opportunity to work with Orderly to actually have this come full circle, right? So we're looking forward to doing more with you guys. Moving on, what can the community look forward to seeing in the future from the collaboration between Orderly and Bitsy?
Yeah, I think many things. We just witnessed the first iteration of the collaboration, and we're only going to push this to the next level, right? So I think, like, we definitely want Bitsy to be, to have the same experience as their centralized exchange on chain. We want to have, we want to figure out the exact ways we can collaborate on like listing of assets, and referral programs, and all types of kind of token incentives and rewards for contributions and such. There's many things that we want to work on. We want to fulfill the demands of all the Bitsy traders, right? As we need to, like, our job is to provide the infrastructure and then the liquidity for all the assets that everyone on Bitsy wants to trade, right? That's kind of our job, and to make sure that it's a smooth experience. And then we look forward to Bitsy optimizing the user experience and the onboarding on top to be able to drive more and more of their users on chain, and to take on more and more use of the on-chain users as they experience a truly decentralized products that represents a centralized product. So I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Oh, great. Blake?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rand covered most of the main points here, so I won't add too much. But I definitely think it's kind of just a start of some really important work together between Bitsy and Orderly. We've seen what Orderly has done so far and how fast they've done it. We've chosen to work with them because of the way Orderly is built. When they push new features to production, which they regularly do, it's very easy and straightforward for us to implement those new features and turn it on, so our community has immediate access to that functionality, right? So, it seems pretty simple, but I think we'll just keep working together and pushing new features regularly, and looking forward to seeing where it goes from here.
Yeah, I've had a little snapshot of what Orderly is planning to do in the near future. Can't give anything away, but guys, there's a lot coming along, and I think everyone's going to be really excited about it. So stay tuned. So before we end the segment, I just wanted to ask both of you guys, what are the best ways for your communities or this community here to find out what Orderly and Bitsy DEX are doing? Do you guys have any special events that the community can look forward to in the next couple days or the next coming days?
Well, for us, you can find everything on our Twitter, so twitter.com/Orderly Network. Also, our Discord. Feel free to even ping me on Twitter. Happy to answer any questions or direct you to the right person on our side.
Okay,
yeah,
Blake?
Same here. Twitter, Telegram, Discord. Jump in the community if you have any questions. I think we're pretty responsive, and we're happy to answer any questions that people have, or if you just want to follow along and kind of see other AMAs that we're hosting, other events that we're having, it's all there.
Okay, thanks, guys. So that wraps up that section of this AMA. We're going to move on to the Q&A section. So I'd like to thank both Rand and Blake for all your insightful information that you guys have shared with us today. I'm sure listeners have a lot of questions for you, so we're going to start the live AMA now. I'm going to pick a few people from the audience. You guys raise your hands. I'll pick you guys and have at it. First one will be Santa X.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So my question basically for Oddly Network, I just want to know what are your plans to know what new innovations should users be looking forward to Oddly Network? Do you have any new features? And also, a lot of projects have difficulty surviving this crypto space. So where do you see your project in the next 5 years from now?
What the first question is, any new features?
Yeah, are there any like upcoming innovations you plan on implementing?
Yeah, I think you'll expect to see many things happening. So just on the omni-chain side, we're on Arbitrum now, and we'll try to ship as fast as possible to the other chains, right? So to have this infra where, so like BTSE on top, let's say you can deposit, withdraw from any chain, and you really have this centralized exchange experience, but with the transparency of DeFi. And then so we have a way to make that happen that's secure. You can look forward to that. There's also many other products that we're going to roll out, which is kind of not. I can't really talk about too much about it now, but just we think the perfect liquidity is something that's kind of a combination of, let's say, DYDX and Uniswap, right? Where there's professional market makers, which is kind of what DYDX is, and Uniswap, which is retail. So the optimal thing is a combination, right? Where all types of people can provide liquidity for some sort of reward. I think that'll be really interesting, and then we can optimize for liquidity for any assets, and then how to make the assets listing as decentralized or as permissionless as possible. Oh, and service is viable. We have plenty of runway, right? So fortunately, already raised 20 million in the beginning of last year. So from a variety of amazing backers and supporters like Pantera, Dragonfly, Jump, and such. So we have plenty of runway to survive. And so then what our focus is on just shipping in the bear market, making sure that we have the right products online that meets the needs of our partners like BTSE.
All right, thanks for that, Ran. We'll head up to the next question. Trey. Hi, Trey, can you hear us?
Yes, it's been an educative session so far. My question is in regards to regulation. We've seen a lot of projects have been shut down in so many countries due to a proper regulation. So I want to know, how is your team dealing with this issue?
Orderly team or the BTSE Dex team?
No, it's not BTC Days. It's about the Wolf team, the Orderly network.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't think we got the last part. Can you repeat that?
Okay, it's about the regulation. Like, how is the team dealing with the regulation issues? Since we've seen a lot of crypto projects have been shut down in so many countries. So, how is the team dealing with that?
Okay, so from our side, we believe in going full decentralization. So then we model ourselves after Ethereum, essentially, like to make a liquidity infrastructure fully decentralized, so that there's no centralized party that controls any piece of the matching engine or listing or governance on the treasury, even eventually. Kind of a similar direction to what some of our counterparts in the US, like Uniswap, DYDX, are trying to go towards. I mean, and it's most sensitive there, right? So to provide that decentralized infrastructure, so that it's truly a piece of public good, and it incentivizes all parties who are contributing, so that it runs itself, right, without myself needing to be there, or any of our team for that matter.
All right, that's great. I wish you guys best of luck. Thank you.
All right. Going on to the next one, we will go with Logan. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Like, I just want to know, like, what are some of the challenges, or hurdles you have come across throughout the journey of your project, and how are they really addressed? Then my second question is this, like, I want to know, like, what are some of the plans you have for the users in the future? Like, how do you plan to attract both crypto and non-crypto users, especially those in non-English communities, to your project?
Blake, you want to talk on Bitsy side on this one?
Yeah, for sure. I'll jump in there, right? The first part of that question is sort of issues and challenges that we've come across, right? Certainly when I think about the DeFi space, thinking about the work that we've done on the DEX, and Rand kind of mentioned this earlier, like a lot of the solutions are very fragmented, right? So we have the DEX, but then we have this question about onboarding. How do we make sure it's easy for users to onboard? We've tried to combine sort of the centralized and decentralized exchange to make that as easy as possible. But we're also sort of waiting for new solutions to come to market that would make that process easier for, like, say, someone that's DeFi native, right? So I would say the way that we address that, right, is choosing the right people to work with, right? So, like, for example, in creating the DEX in the first place, choosing to work with Orderly, but then also having conversation with new wallet providers, things like this that will kind of provide a full ecosystem of solutions for DEX users, but being very selective about kind of who we work with, people that are going to create and ship product that is up to kind of the same standard that we look for when we're creating a trading experience, right? Yeah, I think I'll let Rand, I don't know if you want to jump into the second part of that, or if that's sufficient.
I think that's good. Actually, yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, I hope that answers your question. We'll jump on to the next user, Blueberry. Hi, Blueberry, are you there? Okay, I guess not. We'll be moving on. We will go to Azuki. Hi, Azuki, can you hear us?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to know what are your marketing strategy to onboard more users? Do you have any plan on having an ambassador program to foster the project?
So I think you're asking about ambassador programs for both our projects.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in and just kind of, I think we'll be doing quite a lot in the coming weeks in terms of incentives for new users, how people can get on the platform and trade and benefit from those incentives. The best way, as we mentioned before, is certainly following the Twitter accounts for both BitSE and Orderly, our Telegram accounts or our Discords, and we'll be announcing quite a bit in the coming days and weeks what's available there.
Okay. We have one more for tonight before we end our AMA. We're gonna go with Bullish Pizza. Okay. Fortunately, he dropped. So we will pick one more. Omega. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So actually my question is, I just want to know based on this collaboration. So I just want to know what is the benefits to the users on both platform. And secondly, I want to know if you actually have an ambassador program for your project.
So I think, as mentioned, as the last question, there will be a lot of stuff coming up for both BitSE and Orderly. Not necessarily an ambassador program, but if you join all our communities, there are plenty of perks and plenty of benefits and that you can get and knowledge coming from both of our communities respectively.
Yeah, Orderly will also have an ambassador program. I believe we've talked about that already, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Lastly, unfortunately, this ends the Twitter segment of this AMA. Thank you for all your great questions. Thank you both Ran and Blake for your insightful responses. Before we wrap things up, Ran, Blake, do you guys have any last words for our listeners?
For me, thank you. Thank you for listening, and please check out our Twitter, our Discord, or ping me directly if you have any questions, you want to join the community, you want to be an ambassador. I'm all yours.
Yeah, I'll echo the same thing. Thanks everybody for their time joining, whether it's this evening, this morning, this afternoon. Happy to have you here.
Great, guys. Thanks. Before we wrap things up, I'd like to remind you guys that we have the BitSE Mainnet giveaway going on right now. Both Glebe and Galaxy events. There's 3,000 USDC up for grabs. So check out BitSE's Dex's Twitter. Also check out Orderly's Twitter to get more information on that. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of our listeners for dropping by and joining in on this AMA with BitSE Dex and Orderly Network. We get a lot of a lot of insightful things on BTSE Dex as well as the Orderly Network, and we look forward to seeing many more great things from both of you guys. To everyone that's listening, all the AMA prize winners will be announced on BTSE Dex's Twitter within the next half an hour. If you see your name on the winners list, please message us with your details. And to everyone else who's listening, thanks again for coming. Please follow Orderly Network and BTSE on Twitter and stay up to date with our latest developments. Thank you for attending the BTSE Orderly AMA. We look forward to seeing you all on BTSE. For more information on how to join BTSE, please visit www.bitsy.com or download BTSE on the mobile app or Google Play Store or the App Store. Thanks, everyone. This was great.
Don't miss out on the latest updates and insights from BTSE. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on other social media platforms. Find the links in the description box below and stay connected with us today.